Planning Blueprint, where we offer tips for lawyers and financial advisors and other people who are interested in how to offer the best practices in estate planning to their clients. And today we're doing our first ever live stream. And this is on the topic of estate planning for 20 somethings. So the issue is, what advice can we as lawyers offer to clients in their 20s who need some sort of estate planning? And I thought of this topic because, again, this is my first live stream that we're doing here. And I initially got the inspiration for doing live streams from Masterclass. So I'll show you, take a minute to share my screen here. Okay, let's see, sharing the entire screen. There we go. All right, so here's Ninja. Become a streamer with Ninja. All right, so if you're not familiar with Ninja, he is one of the top streamers, gaming streamers on something called Twitch. And when I did the research on Twitch, it turns out that Twitch is something that is very popular with people in their 20s. About 75% of their users are in the 16 to 34 age category. So that's how I learned to do streaming. So shout out to Ninja. Thanks, bro, for all your advice. And thanks to Masterclass for putting the class together like that to teach people like lawyers how to do live streaming. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, so why should you listen to me for estate planning for people in their 20-somethings? So I'm a certified elder law attorney, and part of being an elder law attorney is to be practicing in the area of elder law, which includes estate planning. So I had to do a lot of estate planning in order to get certified and to pass a rather rigorous examination on this topic. So I've done estate planning for all ages. I've been doing this type of law for over 20 years now, and I've done more than 1,000 estate plans. So doing that many, obviously some of them are going to be younger people. And I recently did an estate plan for someone in their 20s. And I'm going to bring on my guest at this point. And here is Annika. So introduce yourself if you would, Annika.
Yeah. Yeah. Been working for about 9 months or so now, and need other estate planning.
Okay, we're having a little trouble with your audio, so you might want to get closer to the microphone. Ah, that's better.
That better? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what is your title?
I'm a client specialist.
Okay. All right. So, and you recently had a major life change, did you not?
I did. We got married 2 weeks ago. Yep.
Got married 2 weeks ago. Congratulations. That's awesome. And before you got married, I did your estate planning documents for you. It was part of working at the firm and becoming familiar with it. You know, I thought it was a good idea for, you know, people on the staff to have their own estate plans done and to go through that experience when you're talking to clients about that, to have your own estate plan done. So which documents did we do for you?
Paragraphs, which included health and open will, and then also
Okay, I want to get a little closer to the microphone if you can.
Sure. Sorry. These are the documents.
Okay. you want to have a guess of what my youngest client ever was?
Say
18 is correct.
18.
Yeah, maybe you heard that before.
I don't know. That's the
Yeah, so I got the inspiration for that from another elder law attorney who was talking to all of us at the Elder Law Institute, which was put on in Pennsylvania every year. And she was talking about in her own family that her daughter went off to college, and she got that dreaded phone call that her daughter had been rushed to the emergency room. So she right away called the hospital. And what do you think they told her?
probably this. She didn't, you know, have any sort of healthcare directives or any sense that she was involved. There wasn't really anything that the mom could do.
Yeah, they couldn't really talk to her.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it kind of occurred to her, hey, I do estate planning for people all the time. I should do that for my own daughter. So so we put on a program at our firm to talk about having healthcare directives for graduating seniors. And we signed up a bunch of people. We just offered it to them all kind of as a group to come in, learn about what healthcare directives are, and get one done before you go off to college. So they ended up, I think, mostly naming their parents as their agent under their power of attorney, but they all went off to college with their healthcare directives intact. So had a number of clients who were 18, and that's the minimum age for doing estate planning in Pennsylvania. Okay, so in your case, I think you said we did your power of attorney, will, healthcare directives, and then what value did you think that you got out of those having those?
I think I think when you're in your 20s, you don't really think about, negative things, you plan for it. So like, I wasn't in a relationship but, you know, my boyfriend probably access much for anything of mine, you so that was really for, you know, even though I'm starting out like that, um, I still need to have some plan in place, for myself and for my loved ones and things like that.
Yeah, it's quite the experience if somebody is in the hospital and somebody else is trying to talk to a hospital staff and they have no formal relationship. If you were had been married at that time, then at least you have some status there. But if it's a fiance, how would they know? How would you prove it? Right. But if you have healthcare directives, then now you can walk in there and say, hey, I'm authorized to make decisions on this person's behalf and certainly can talk to any kind of medical staff about what's going on.
Yep.
All right. So, so we did will, which, has all the provisions in there about who's going to be your executor and where all of your stuff would go, your estate, and then power of attorney for financial matters. So if somebody needs to access your bank accounts, pay bills, that sort of thing, they would have that authority. So this kind of thing that everybody should have when they're an adult. Certainly, if you have a will, you would need that if you have any sort of appreciable assets. And I think that's maybe why people in their 20s don't think about estate planning much, right? Because it's not like, somebody who's been around a long time and has a house that's paid off and has, retirement accounts that have accumulated for decades, that they think there's not much to do in terms of estate planning, but you certainly need it for those initial things like if you have an accident, somebody can speak for you, somebody can act for you. And then we do estate planning for people who are married with children, and you're involved in the drafting on that.
Yeah.
So how is that different from what we did for you?
So for people like that, usually you um, you know you might consider nominating a guardian for your minor children. In the case that something were to happen to you, you you know legally let everyone know exactly who it is to take care of your children. You have a discussion about that before it happens, which is really important.
Yeah, so it's really important to have those provisions for naming a guardian for the minor children if something happens to both parents, and having a trustee named in case there's nobody left, and you have to somebody needs to step in and manage all of the assets that have been left for minor children. They can't obviously manage that on their own, and so they need to have somebody appointed to do that. And then also things like standby guardian designations, which is something that Pennsylvania law allows, so that if they don't, if they're both in an accident and nobody comes home, what does the babysitter do, right? There's a standby guardian that's already been appointed in this document who can step in
Mhm.
right away and have all of the legal authority to act just as the parents do.
Right.
And now I want to move to how do people actually get estate plans done. So if somebody is in their 20s and they're thinking about doing this, and whether they're a single person, married with children, have assets or don't, one alternative, probably the best alternative, is to have a lawyer do it. And then not everyone is as fortunate as you to work for somebody who's going to do it for free. Uh, but for people who maybe married couple that's accumulated some assets, right? They've gotten maybe their first jobs out of college, something like that. Probably feel a little more secure in going to, invest in something like legal services to get it done right.
Right.
But I do recognize that some people will think, well, maybe I can just do it on my own. And I don't necessarily recommend that. But I recognize that people might try to do that. And if you are in the category of somebody who is going to try to do it yourself,
Hmm.
at least I can offer some advice about what to avoid, and that would be just downloading some form off of the internet that you don't know what it is or you don't know where it came from. Because the
Right.
ones that I've seen that have gotten people in trouble have been ones that people have done themselves, and it hasn't worked
Mhm.
out well. So I recently had you go downtown and do an assignment along this line. So tell people what you did and what your results were.
Yeah. So I went to a recorded deed that I grabbed by a stationery um, shop down there, and we actually have forms available for various estate planning documents. I was able to find, official form for a last will and testament, which you could just kind of fill in, you know, and then also for variable power of attorney. So this is something that's like a little more official, right? It's very basic, but it's a little better than just Googling, power of attorney and downloading a form and things like that. And then also the Allegheny County Bar Association has healthcare directives form as well that you can get online. Is really great. So that was, I think, you probably do all of that for less than $20 or so. So it's not very expensive.
Yeah, do you remember how much it cost to buy those the will and the power of attorney form?
I think it was like $7.50, $8, something like that.
Okay, so for less than $10, got the forms, and then if you had to pay a notary $5 or $10, you could get legitimate estate plans done for less than $20. And I know there
Yep.
are a lot of online um, services that offer estate plans. And certainly I think people just try to find it for free, and they download things for free that might not be valid in Pennsylvania. So
Right.
I looked at the forms that you bought, and those are legitimate, valid forms. So if somebody filled it out properly, which is um, a major impediment too to doing it yourself, you have to know how to fill it out properly. But if somebody did fill those forms out properly and had them notarized, they would be valid and conform to the requirements of Pennsylvania state law. So certainly somebody, could, if you're going to do it yourself, I recommend doing something like that, like a legal stationery store in your area where it's, you can find something that's valid in your jurisdiction. So if you filled it out properly, that would at least be valid. So again, I'm not recommending doing it yourself, but if you're in that circumstance where maybe you don't have the means to afford a lawyer, and you wanted to get it done yourself, that would be a way to do it. So I think that wraps it up. Appreciate you being here. Thanks, Annika, and thanks to
Yep.
all of our viewers out there. We're going to have future live streams, so the way to learn about them in the future is to go to Estate Planning Blueprint on YouTube. So there's a channel on YouTube called Estate Planning Blueprint, and you can subscribe there and hit the little bell to get notifications. So the next time we go live, you'll get notified, and we'll see you at the next live stream.